Townsend here, reporting an exclusive BWW2 broadcast on Britain's role in the war. This 20-minute special broadcast will give you all the information you need on Britain's involvement in World War II. You will see a live, on-scene report from the London Blitz, an exclusive one-on-one interview with Prime Minister Winston Churchill, and a roundtable discussion with experts. The live report from the London Blitz will show everyone the horrors that we all faced during the Blitz. The one-on-one interview with Prime Minister Churchill will show his view on the war and all that he did to bring Britain to victory. Finally, the roundtable discussion will give you a look at an expert's and a regular citizen's opinion on the war. General Montgomery from the British military will give you a look in on the fighting side of the war, while a citizen, Harry Roberts, will give you a look in on what it was like on the home front. Not only will you viewers get the facts on Britain's involvement, but you will also experience the emotions behind it. I promise this exclusive broadcast will answer all of your questions and hopefully reduce some of your concerns about the war. I hope you enjoy this special broadcast brought to you from Britain's #1 trusted news source.
Preceded by a shower of flares, German bombers rained fire and high explosive bombs in their most savage attack on London. Here again is the
Breaking news. 2 weeks ago, September 7th, 1940, German bombers swarmed London skies at night while anxious people below waited their fate. Germans bombed the capital all through the night, killing many innocent citizens. Unfortunately, that wasn't the end of it all. This dangerous bombing is expected to continue for many months because Germany wants to see us all suffer. Many already lost their homes, businesses, and even family members. Buildings and houses are piles of rubble, and some are engulfed in flames. Overall, most of the city was destroyed, and approximately 5,000 people had already died. And that number is unfortunately increasing by the day. The bombers seem to only attack at night while it's dark, so the citizens should be aware of these dangerous planes flying overhead. The best place to stay during these terrifying nights is the subways underground. We encourage you to take your families there, and stay there until we know for sure that this is all over. Take your children out of school because school is an easy target for the German bombers. This footage playing on your television screens at home is very difficult to watch if you are experiencing this in your everyday life. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all of those who lost their lives during this period of chaos. Stay safe and be aware of what's going on in London today. That's the news update for today, and stay tuned for more information.
In spite of it all, London carries on. Lummy, you ought to hear her carrying on. In no uncertain voice, she echoes Mr. Churchill's words, "We'll give it to them back. Yes, this time we take the gloves off. Hitler has called the tune, and we'll give it a name. Retaliation." Quoting an American newspaper, "The indiscriminate orgy of destruction is not the weapon to defeat England. From the dust of London arises only new life and hotter defiance. Hardened and angry, Britain fights back." We've got an adapted slogan now. Can we take it? Sure we can take it, right back where it came from.
Me again, with a few words from Winston Churchill. He wanted me to share this with you all. It is mainly about how we will defend ourselves during this disaster and harm that Germany is causing London. I'll start off by saying this is not the end of the bombing. The British are expected to fight back and not surrender. In order to protect our country, this is necessary. Churchill is going to stay in London during this time because he cares much about the people of his country. He introduced the Royal Air Force in order to defend our British skies while Germany is bombing our country. We will fight long and hard through this battle no matter how long it takes us. Germany's airplanes are very unpredictable because they can bomb anywhere at any time. We cannot make any promises, but we are trying our best to stop this mayhem and bring all the people back to peace. Best wishes to you all. Now back to you, Paul.
Thank you for that wonderful report. That was a very risky thing to do, with the spontaneous German attackers constantly bombing London and the cities around it. My thoughts go out to everyone suffering through the long nights in shelters trying to stay safe from the bombers. It takes a lot of guts to keep morale high at all times and never give in to the enemy. All of Britain's people picked up this never quit mentality from Prime Minister Winston Churchill. We have an exclusive one-on-one interview with Mr. Churchill himself. In this next segment, you will hear his views on the war for the first time in this special interview, brought to you by Britain's #1 trusted news source. Hello, I am here with Winston Churchill in an exclusive BWW2 Broadcast interview. Thank you for coming, Mr. Churchill.
Please, call me Winston.
Okay, Winston, how did you come to your position, and when did this happen?
Well, in 1939, when the war broke out, I took power. Then, when Neville Chamberlain resigned as Prime Minister in 1940, I took that position.
Okay, what was the reaction of you and your people when the war broke out?
Well, many people were scared of the power of the Nazis, but I stood as a lone voice against the Nazi threat.
What did you say to rally your people?
Well, I said we should defend our island, wherever the cost may be. We shall fight on our beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields, and we should fight in the streets. We shall fight in the hills, but we shall never surrender.
Wow, that was very inspirational. No wonder Britain never gave up. Now, tell me about the Big Three.
The Big Three was made up of the Allied power leaders. That means that Roosevelt was from America, Stalin was from the Soviet Union, and me from Britain.
Now, what was the Atlantic Charter? Wasn't that with one of your fellow Big Three members?
Yes, it was when me and Roosevelt met secretly on a warship in the Atlantic. The Atlantic Charter set the goals for the war and the post-war. Roosevelt and I pledged to support the right of all people and to choose the form of government in which they live in.
I see that you stay strong and confident throughout the whole war. Now, what would you say are the darkest days of the war for Britain?
Well, the war led to many dark days throughout all of Europe and the entire world. For Britain, the darkest days would have been the 57 nights of the German bombings, the London Blitz.
Now, what was your reasoning behind not giving in to Hitler and not surrendering?
Well, this is what the people wanted. The most important thing is what the people want of this great country. Also, by having talks of peace with Hitler, it would have been an admission of defeat. Just to add, we had bad history with Germans when it comes to treaties.
Now, do you think that Britain would be able to fend off the Nazis if Neville Chamberlain was still in power?
No, I don't. Neville was one that gave in when times get tough. I knew the only way we would be able to get by without defeat is by staying strong and no matter what, not giving in.
Do you think you'd be able to get by without your help of your allies like America?
As much as I would love to say that it was just our people's will and our army's strength, that is not true. America was a big help as we stood alone against the Nazi by sending aid and warships to help them fight off. Stalin and the Soviet Union was another helpful ally, as we agreed to work together and not fight against each other.
Now, what do you think Hitler's main cause of defeat was?
There were a lot of factors in Hitler's defeat, including our people's will to stay strong. But I'd like to say that our fight to the death mentality that sent the Nazis out of Britain. The more they bombed us, the more determined we were to turn back the enemy.
What was your reaction when the war ended in Europe?
I believe that we may allow ourselves a brief period of rejoice. Let us not forget for a moment the fact that there is still war going on in Japan. For all Japan did to us, America and the countries all over the world, Japan deserves to be put to justice.
Is there anything you regret about the war as a whole?
Although I might have done some things that not have been the best decision throughout the war, as a whole, I do not regret one thing. At the end, Britain and the Allies came on top and brought the evil leaders to justice.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Winston Churchill. It has been an honor speaking to the one person that believes in Britain.
It is my pleasure. The great country couldn't have done it without its people.
It truly was an honor talking to the one man that rallied behind this great country and all of its people throughout some of the toughest days that Britain has ever seen. Getting to dissect all of his thoughts and reasons behind what he did gave a new look on the outcome of the war. Without Prime Minister Churchill, this war would not have been the same. In this next segment, we have two very special guests joining us. I will be joined by General Montgomery and Harry Roberts, a British citizen. Both of these men will sum up the emotions felt on the battlefield and at home. I hope you enjoy this discussion with the two key factors in Britain's victory, a general and someone just like you. Hello. Tonight on our 12 o'clock midnight talk, we are discussing the Battle of Britain faced in World War II. We have brought in some World War II experts and a British citizen to help us get a professional and emotional opinion about this topic tonight. Please give a round of applause for our expert, Bernard Montgomery. For those of you who do not know him, he is a British general active in North Africa. The one bringing in the other side of the story is Harry Roberts. Harry is your everyday guy who works in a factory. He is straight out of beautiful London, Britain. So let's get things started, shall we? So, General, can you talk about your country's efforts and the troubles in World War II?
Well, on August 12th, German bombers began to bomb England's southern coast daily. I sent out the British Royal Air Force to try and suppress the Germans. But as I thought that was working, the Germans had a change of plans. They decided to turn their attention to London and the other nearby cities. They started bombing London on September 7th, and it lasted 57 terrifying nights. They destroyed the cities, killing 15,000 British citizens. But London was strong, and we did not break from this attack.
Now, Harry, what is your opinion about the London Blitz?
Well, this was a very frightening time for my family and I. My home and some of my friends' home were completely destroyed. Everything that we had and loved in our house had been lost. This was scary because we could just be buying some groceries and we would hear the sirens and all have to run to subways or shelters. We would stay there for almost the whole night, and when we heard the all-clear sirens, we would come back out and nothing would be the same. The stores we shopped in would be a pile of rubble, and you would never know what you were going to get or when it was going to happen.
Wow, that does seem like a very terrifying time. My thoughts and prayers go out to anyone who had lost their lives during the London Blitz. I do feel really bad for the people who go through it, like you and everyone else. On another note, General, what happens later?
Well, the British people are strong people, and the bombing did not break us. In fact, it only made us stronger. It made us want to get back at the enemy even more. We got our revenge at the Battle of El Alamein. This battle took place in Egypt when I finally stopped Rommel's advances. We drove back the Axis powers in a fierce battle back across Libya. Then General Dwight Eisenhower's army, combined with mine, trapped Rommel's in Tuscania, attacking from the west. Our combined plan finally made them surrender in May.
That is true. The British are very strong and proud people and believe in their country. Well, at least you got your revenge on Rommel and gained some respect from the American forces by helping them out at the Battle of El Alamein. Now, Harry, what do you have to say about the battle and the final revenge on the Germans?
Speaking for the British citizens, I believe we would all like to say thank you. We would have never known what would have happened if we didn't beat the Axis powers. Being able to get the revenge and stop the Germans and make them surrender, it's bittersweet. That is because we can forget about the bombings and death and destruction they all caused us. There is nothing better than beating someone at their own game. We showed that we are not going to let someone walk all over us. We are British strong.
And there you have it, viewers. You heard it from the people that were there and experienced it firsthand, from a British general to an everyday factory worker. Stay tuned later for your World War II updates and weather. Well, there you have it, folks. It is not every day that you got to experience not only what life was like on the battlefield, but also at home. In this special broadcast, we took you through every aspect of Britain's role in World War II. You got a live look in on a major event, an exclusive interview, and an informative discussion. It is clear to see that Britain played a major part in the Allied victory. No matter what, British people stayed strong and never gave in. It is this mentality that kept this country and the Allied powers on top. For all of us here at BWW2 News, this is Paul Johnson signing off.